Here we go. 2b less than 4. Percents greater than 100 and less than 1%. Our target is I can represent fractions that are over 100% and less than 1%. Okay, before we do that, I want you to go ahead and take a look at these quick check problems. Go through them, take your time, double check to make sure that you have these things correct. So go ahead and pause the video right now, and then we're going to go through it. All right, we know that percent means out of 100. So if we have 15%, that's 15 over 100, or 15 hundredths. Easier way is to imagine that there's a decimal between the percent sign and the last number. We move that 2 places to the left. We move it that way because we're dividing by 100. So 8%. Move it 2 places. Fill in my gap with a 0. I have 0.08. So 8 hundredths. Right, each decimal is a percent. We're moving it over 2 spots, adding my 0, I have 30%. Or to use my other method, that's 3/10. Percent is out of 100. I multiply times 10. Phrase that pays, what I do to the bottom, I must do to the top. I got 30 out of 100. Here all that we're doing is moving it twice to the right and adding our percent sign, 55%. 3 hundredths. Hundredths. It's all about our place value here. 3 hundredths. And we move the decimal and get 3%. Or 3 out of 100. How do we use equivalent rates in the real world? We're going to continue to focus on that throughout the entire unit. Go turn over to the top of the next page. When we're working with parts or smaller parts of decimals and fractions and percents, the same process that we did before, but we just have to watch where we are with their decimal. So if I have 0.2%, that is a very small portion. 0.2%. When we go and take a look at that, we're going to do the same process and move the decimal 2 places to the left. So we grab our decimal, move it once, twice to the left because we're dividing by 100. And we have 2 thousandths. 2 over 1,000 or 1 over 500. In our notes, it says for you to try, but we've already done it for you. But we're going to go through it because we're working with percents that are above 100%. You can have over 100% of something. For instance, if we have a goal of raising 125 cans per 9th period class, and we get 140 cans, we're much higher above our goal. So, percent means out of 100. So if I have 170, it's 170 over 100, which is 1 and 70 hundredths, or 1 and 7/10, as we have here. We can also take this 170%, put in our decimal, move it 2 places to the left. I have 1 and 7/10. Take a look over on the top of the next page. Now this looks weird. 13/20ths of a percent. So that's saying that we have 13 over 20%. You don't see that very often. So what we need to do is we need to change that into a decimal first. So if I have 13 over 20, and I want to move that to over 100, I multiply times 5. What I do to the bottom, I must do to the top. So that's 65 hundredths of a percent. We still move it 2 places to the left. fill in our zeros, and drop the percent sign. So we have 65 ten thousandths. 65 ten thousandths. Okay. I'd like you to try example 4 and 5 on your own. Go. Now, if we take a look, Jimmy's savings increased by 250%. Write 250% as a mixed number in simplest form and as a decimal. So if we take 250%, 250 out of 100, how many times can 100 go into 200? It can go twice, and I have 50 left over. And I simplify to 2 1/2. As a decimal, we have 250%. Put our decimal in, move it over twice, I get 2 5/10. Which you can do this step first in order to make this easier. I have 0.7%. I'm going to write it as a decimal first. So I move it over 2 places, add my zeros, and I have 7 thousandths. So then I write 7 thousandths in fraction form. 7 thousandths. Example 6, write 1 1/4 as a percent. So right now, we're going to focus only on that fraction right now, because percent means out of 100. So we're going to change 1/4 to its equivalent fraction over 100. Multiply this times 25. What we do to the bottom, we do to the top. So I have 1 25/100. We move it to the right 2 spots, and we have 125%. Try example 7 and 8 on your own. Pause the video now. So I take 1 68/100 to write it as a percent. Move it 2 places to the right. Put my percent sign in. 75 ten thousandths as a percent. I move my decimal 2 places to the right. Add my decimal, and I have 75 hundredths of a percent. So that's less than 1%. Now we have a STEM question: science, technology, engineering, and math. The cheetah is the fastest land mammal in the world, and the peregrine falcon is the fastest bird in the world. The peregrine falcon's speed is 2.1 times as fast as the cheetah's. Write this as a percent. We take 2.1, or 2 1/10, move it to the right 2 spots, add my 0, and add my percent. So the peregrine falcon is 210% faster than the cheetah. We'll work on this ticket to work problem tomorrow, beginning of class. Get yourself ready. If you have questions, make sure that you write them down so that you're ready to share them with the class tomorrow. All right, have a good evening.